It was a time when the state was going through a lot of mental health reform, and they were closing all the state hospitals and deinstitutionalizing people, and government was contracting out all of this work to community-based mental health providers. And so I was a person just a few months out of my master's degree. I had done an internship at an organization. I was hired immediately to stay on with that organization because we were gearing up for all kinds of new work. When I started at that organization, it had about 25 employees. By the time I left, 12 years later, it had over 400. So I was in this position where I had gotten a master's in social work with a plan to go out and do family-based therapy in people's homes. And about 6 months into my job after graduating, I was supervising 2 teams of employees and gearing up to get the next contract. So I guess the point of this is that you can start out in an organization and you can move up pretty quickly. I think my situation was a little bit unique in that I was sort of in the right place at the right time. But I think one of the best things that you can do in terms of looking for a job is just to get your foot in the door. I think that is really key. A lot of nonprofits like to hire from within their own ranks, or promote from within their own ranks. They like to know that it's a person that they can count on. It's a person whose track record is known to the organization. And this is not just from my own personal experience in working, but also in the students that I've had in classes who've gone on to get jobs in the nonprofit sector. So I guess one bit of advice I would have for you is, in your job search, the MPA degree will advantage you. As Kate said, I know a lot of people with bachelor's degrees who work in administrative positions, even as, in a couple of cases, as executive directors and CEOs. So I think having that management and administrative background will be a major asset to you. But if you don't get a job that's a CEO position right off the bat, I would encourage you to be open-minded in terms of starting out maybe somewhere along the middle or even a little lower in the hierarchy, because there will be opportunities for you. This is in terms of demonstrating yourself and your capabilities. Again, not just within your own organization, but you get networked so quickly just by virtue of being in a job that there are a lot of opportunities. And people know where the good people are. You're always trying to, I remember even in my own organization, always trying to hire away the really good people from our other providers that were in our network. So get your foot in the door. That, I think, would be the most important thing, even if it means starting out a little bit lower pay or a little lower in the hierarchy than you would initially like. The importance of networking. I think this is one thing from my own experience, again, not just personally in my own personal experience, but with the students that I've had. The ones who have been the most successful in getting jobs are the ones who have done a lot of lead work themselves in terms of getting network. Internships are, I think, invaluable in terms of being able to have some work experience when you go out, not just the experience itself, but also the context that you develop in that internship. The organization that you intern for may not be able to hire you like mine did, but usually if you do an internship and you do a good job there, the people are looking out for your interests and trying to think about what friends do I have in the field who might be hiring now, who I might be able to place you with. So internships may not be a possibility for everybody. Volunteering in some capacity is another great way to get your foot in the door in an organization, to get yourself known and get people acquainted with your skill set and what you have to contribute to an organization. So if you can find some way to volunteer in some capacity, I think that would also be useful. There are all kinds of networking opportunities out there. I think taking the time to investigate those and to attend as many things as you can is really valuable. Let me see if I had anything else on my list I was going to say. I do think you know, the MPA degree, just one final comment is the MPA degree is good, as we've been talking about. If you have, I think it's good if you can make yourself stand out with any substantive expertise that you have, aside from just your general management and administration sort of core that you come to the table with your MPA degree. If you've got technology skills, maybe things, you know, expertise in social media, which is not the end-all be-all, but some organizations are really looking for that skill set right now. If you've got fundraising capabilities, so any sort of extra skill that you have that you can bring to the table, I think is helpful. Or you know, substantive knowledge that relates to the cause that you're interested in, right? Arts expertise or you know, a background in mental health, whatever it is that you're interested in pursuing a job in that arena is going to be valuable and useful to an employer. I think that's all the comments I have, but I'll be happy to take questions when we're all done.
I work for the United Way of Metropolitan Chicago as the Corporate Development Officer. My slides are pretty static. Nothing flies, flips, slides. So I was admiring it. I was like, wow, that's great. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about not just sort of what I do as a fundraiser, but just in general, what is happening in the sector from someone who's in it. And if you go to the next slide, I want to talk a little bit about sort of how I got here, because I think that will hopefully resonate with some of you all in your personal stories and how you got here, and hopefully show you how there are themes in my life that have sort of led me to this point. So I come from an immigrant background. My parents are from Nigeria. I'm the first of 5 kids. I'm the only female. God help me. And my family are all on the East Coast. And if anybody has ever grown up in an immigrant household, you know that your household belongs to everyone. So I can count for you probably 8 families who have lived in my household, aside from mine. So I've slept in beds with like feet at my face. I've sold candy for cousins. I've stolen candy for cousins. But all that to say, my family has sort of been the starting point for me in terms of giving back or being sort of a community thinker. And I say that in the utmost respect for my mom and my dad, who have really sort of instilled that in me from birth, and including my faith as well. I'm a Christian, proud of it, and I think my faith has sort of reminded me to continue to give back in some way, shape, or form. I'm not a Catholic, but like my mom would make me go with the Catholic kids in school when they would do like community service projects. It's like, I'm not a Catholic, why are you making me do this? But it didn't matter because they were doing good. So all that to say, I was also an athlete. The center photo is my college team. I played basketball and volleyball in high school, and then moved on to play Division II volleyball at Bryant College, which was a business school. And if anybody was an athlete, you know that you had to do a lot of community service projects. And I actually enjoyed that more than playing. And my coaches would always get mad at me, like, why are you spending all this time putting together this project? You should be practicing, or you should be doing this. And I'm like, I really actually enjoy this more. But actually, all throughout my high school and college athletic career, we were always doing things in the community, but I had never actually thought that I could make it a career. Like, I didn't think you could actually get paid to do good. It was just something that I would just do. After high school, before I got to college, I actually signed up to join the Marine Corps because I didn't think my mom could afford to pay. She actually couldn't afford to pay for college. And the Marine recruiters were the only ones who were in my college recruiting students. So I signed up, I did boot camp. I was scheduled to go August 25th, 1999, until a volleyball coach from the school I went to was like, hold up. Like, what are you doing? Stop, we can help you out. And they did, and I was grateful, and I'm here today. So, and I did the Marine Corps. So the story continues. My first sort of stab at the nonprofit sector actually happened in 2004. So after college, I found a job at a bank, Fleet Boston Financial, and I was an auditor because my undergrad degree is actually in computer information systems. So I spent time building databases, and they were like, oh, you're good at building databases, why don't you build some for banks? I was like, great, fine. But like my athletic career, I got to the bank and started getting into affinity groups. And it's like, you know, the Black Women's Auditors Group and the, you know, leadership group and da-da-da. And I was doing more of that than like my auditing job. And my boss would be like, oh, you're so great, but you gotta like build this database. I'm like, I don't wanna do that. I wanna like go to that conference. So our bank got bought out by Bank of America. I decided it's time for me to go to Peace Corps. Didn't do Peace Corps. I went to AmeriCorps instead. And that's where I started my graduate degree at Illinois State in their applied sociology program that focuses on community and economic development. And I was much like you all, sitting watching somebody talk about their career, and I was like, oh, okay, so I can like make some money with this thing. And the story goes, after my AmeriCorps program was over, I was a fundraiser for the AmeriCorps program for Domestic Violence Agency. And I thought, I think I can do this. And when I graduated in 2007 with the master's degree, I went on to the YWCA, Metropolitan Chicago, which is the photo with the women in the orange on your right-hand side. So I was there, and I started as a development associate, so fundraising. They were like, you know, you've got a great business background. I was like, yes, I do. And I was like, and they were like, you're very passionate about women? I said, yes, I am. They were like, this is the place for you. I was like, yes, it is. So I was there. I started in 2007. It's probably been at this point, the best experience of my entire life. I don't regret 1 minute of it. I did leave the YWCA last November. I was heartbroken. They were heartbroken, but I think, like in all things in life, you got to move on. And now I'm at the United Way, and I'm the corporate development officer there. It's a great opportunity. It's a big organization. They do lots of great work. It's challenging, but I enjoy it. And I'm looking for the next opportunity to come by. So that, in a nutshell, is sort of how I've gotten to this point. The themes of my life have always been, you know, giving back. And I never even realized it until like fairly recently that the themes have sort of been decorated throughout my life, through sports, through family, through school, and so on and so forth. So that's how I got here. All right, so you guys have probably, you know, seen the fundraising sort of charts or talked about it in your classes, but I sort of wanted to give you, so we're all on the same page, sort of give you the steps in terms of fundraising. It's all from a fundraising lens. The development associate is where I started out as. And one of the things I'll get to in the next slide talks about humility. And I'll tell you, I was a master's degree holder. Came out, not a little cocky, but I was like, I know a lot of stuff. You know, I sat in a feminist theory class. I can tell you anything you need to know, you know? And so I thought, you know, I was gonna sort of just jump in and get this fancy title, and I was humbled. And I started at the development associate level. And the path was sort of made clear to me at the YWCA of sort of how you move up. I'm not saying that you have to do these steps, not at all. This is just sort of how my trajectory has been and how I think it goes, and just from experience how I've seen this. So right now I'm sort of in this blue and green phase. As a development officer or a corporate development officer, I'm specializing in corporate relationships.